6, I became aware of the allegations involving Midland County Judge Terry Johnson and his Facebook post. First, I'm publicly calling on Terry Johnson to resign. These allegations are serious, they involve potential criminal conduct, and they affect the public's confidence in the integrity of their law enforcement data systems, the character and conduct of their elected officials, and the efficacy of the justice system. Second, on August 3rd, I submitted a formal complaint to the State Commission on Judicial Conduct. This body has the authority to suspend Terry Johnson and recommend his removal from office. Third, this morning, I filed a civil lawsuit to remove Terry Johnson from office under Chapter 87, Local Government Code. The law requires that any civil suit to remove an elected official be referred to a district judge and prosecutor from another county. That judge and that prosecutor will decide whether to proceed with the civil lawsuit. If they proceed with the lawsuit, that district judge will decide whether to suspend Terry Johnson while the lawsuit proceeds. Finally, I will have no comment today on any potential criminal case regarding Terry Johnson or anyone else involved in this matter. As always, everyone involved retains the presumption of innocence. If you have questions, I'll try to answer them. I'm not discussing any potential criminal liability today. I understand your interest, but I'm not doing that today.
Have you been in contact with the judge recently?
I saw him at Commissioner's Court yesterday.
Did you say anything to him?
I don't think so.
Additionally, you said that it will be assigned to another county. Do we know what county that will be at?
No, so the way it works is I file it, it goes to one of the judges here, and they have to send it to the administrative judge for the 7th Judicial Region, and that's apparently Judge Woodward, and he's in Tom Green County. And he will decide what to do with it. He'll either keep it himself or assign it to another district judge outside of this county, but inside his region. That judge will make a decision as to whether to proceed with it or dismiss it, and he'll also have to assign a prosecutor from outside Midland County to analyze the case and decide whether to proceed with it or dismiss it.
When you heard that Judge Johnson allegedly posted the sensitive information of a private citizen, what was your reaction?
That type of conduct is beneath what Midland County should expect out of its elected officials, and it's certainly beneath the conduct that we should expect from somebody who's a member of the judiciary.
And if you were to step down today, who would take his place until Mr. Marquez in January?
So the State Commission on Judicial Conduct doesn't have the authority to appoint a replacement. However, if the district judge who receives this civil suit decides to do so, he or she could remove Terry Johnson pending the civil suit and appoint a replacement. And for example, that's what happened in Fort Bend County recently.
Civil suit or any other legal proceedings, do you know if taxpayer dollars will be used by Johnson's defense?
I don't know. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for taking this serious and stepping up. We've got full faith in our justice system here in Midland. My question would be, when it says it has to go to an outside Midland County District Attorney, could you tell us what section code or Texas law that is referring to as far as the actual state code, like the section code?
Yeah.
I'm aware that it had to go. I don't think we're forced to send it out.
No, it is. It's new.
Okay.
It's new. I can get you that. It's in Chapter 87. 87017, something like that.
As a taxpayer concerned with this, I asked the media to reach out to his office and give him an opportunity to answer that before everyone attacks him of saying he's passing the buck. Because as someone who's intimately involved in this, I do not think that our district attorney is passing the buck.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that up before someone asks.
No, I understand that. But let me be clear. I'm not recusing myself. I have not recused myself. The law requires, and I don't have the provision in front of me, but it's in Chapter 87, and it's not a very long chapter, and I can get that information. But the law was recently changed. So the way it used to be is if a citizen filed a petition then the county attorney and district attorney had first crack at it, okay? But that's no longer the case. Under the law, it has to go to the administrative judge, and an outside prosecutor has to take a look at it. And they changed that when they added the provisions that allowed the public to remove a prosecutor for misconduct. But when they changed it for the entirety. So, but I'm not recusing myself. There's no legal reason to recuse myself, and there's no ethical reason to recuse myself, so I have not done that.
So y'all heard that from our district attorney, so I ask everyone to give grace and respect and do not attack our district attorney. Let him have the opportunity to give out the correct information. Thank you very much for clarifying.
Will Judge Johnson be investigated for any other doxing of individuals that you're aware of?
I'm not aware of anything else, and if he were, that would be a criminal investigation, and I wouldn't have any comment on that.
Will the Attorney General's office be involved at all within any type of criminal investigation that moves forward?
I don't know why they would be. Yes, sir. I'm not going to discuss any criminal investigation.
So the Texas Attorney General's office has a representative here. Is that for this situation that we're speaking of right now?
I have no idea who that is. I haven't talked to the Texas Attorney General's office, so I have no idea who that is. Welcome, if you're here.
How was it decided that Chapter 87 removal action was appropriate?
I decided that.
Can you kind of go into what went into that decision?
Well, there's several mechanisms, and let me just speak in general terms. There's several mechanisms that a public official can be removed. First of all, Chapter 87. A citizen files a petition, and it goes through the process generally that I described. The second way that it can happen is if there's a criminal conviction for official misconduct under operation of law, that conviction removes that official. In fact, that's also what happened in Fort Bend County. And then the final way is a temporary removal that the State Commission on Judicial Conduct can suspend somebody pending the result of a criminal trial. So there's different ways that removal can happen. And let me also speak broadly. Our office's charge, as every prosecutor's office in Texas, is to do justice. Justice has several lanes. One lane is purely the criminal lane, and obviously we lead the charge in that arena. Another lane is the civil lane, which has to do with restoring victims and making victims whole. Sometimes we have a role in that lane. So for example, if somebody's car is damaged, the court might order restitution, and that would be a role we would have in that. If there's a civil lawsuit for monetary damages, we don't have a role in that. But the other lane of justice has to do with professional certifications, professional employment, things like that. Sometimes we have a role in those kind of collateral consequences. For example, if a doctor commits a heinous crime in the performance of his duties, we might have a role in making sure that the medical board is aware of it. Or if a police officer commits a crime, we might have a role in ensuring that the law enforcement agencies, the certification boards are aware of it. Or if a lawyer commits a crime, then we would have a role in notifying the state bar. So those collateral consequences sometimes are included. And that's what I would put in this category because it's an elected official. Any citizen in Midland County can file this suit, but our office, me in particular, we're the best situated, quite frankly, because we have the most information. Additionally, I'm a state official. I'm not a county official. I'm a state official. So I'm not, I don't have a subordinate relationship with the other elected officials in the county. Just like the judges, generally, most of the district, or all the district judges are state officials. They're not county officials either. So for a lot of reasons, our office is the right one to tackle this.
Sir, we understand also that there was a former Midland County employee that also provided Judge Johnson this information. Can you provide any clarification on what the situation regarding them may be?
That's not my story to tell. I identified that information in the petition, and I'm going to leave it there. I brought a few copies of the petition. Otherwise, I can get you more copies, or it's available at the clerk's office. I can give you the information to get that. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I just have one final question. Does this investigation or the pursuant of 87 have anything to do with the state's turnabout position on data centers and flock cameras and sensitive data
That was not part of my calculus. My calculus was an elected official used his position to get a document he wasn't supposed to have, and then he used it in an inappropriate way and in an illegal way.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Were the calls for removal related solely to the Facebook post, or are there any other additional incidents that you're aware of?
That's the only ground that I cited, and that's the only thing that I'm aware of.
Will any other county agencies be under investigation, be it the sheriff's office, because of the actions of employees?
No. Anything else?
Just to be clear, you can't confirm or deny that there's a criminal case possibly in this matter?
I'm not talking about any potential liability. I'm not obtuse enough to pretend that there's not overlap between what I'm saying now and people's inferences regarding criminal liability. I'm just not talking about it. I do lay out in my petition facts, and I articulate what law I think was violated. And so I think my petition will be instructive in that regard.
If Judge Johnson chooses not to resign, what are your next motives of action? How are you going to proceed forward?
So as far as these avenues I've discussed today, I've gone as far as I can go. I've filed the complaint, I've filed the petition, I've called on him to resign. It's going to be up to another district judge and another prosecutor to decide how to pursue that. And so as far as these matters, I want Midland County to know I take it seriously, and I've done what I can do in this lane, and so that's where I'm going to leave it.
We seem to have a bit of concern with the district attorney's office and the recent abuse that was about a year ago at South Elementary. A lot of people feel as though the district attorney's office has fallen latency to that concern. Are you taking this as serious or more serious than you did the South Elementary abuse?
I take every case that comes before our office seriously. I will tell you this: the speed of outrage outpaces the speed of justice. My office is intentional and deliberate. We require thorough investigations. We deliberate on those investigations. Sometimes we require additional investigation, and then we make a good, reasoned, deliberate decision. We don't make reactionary decisions. Sometimes investigations take a long time, and I'm going to leave it at that.
And so if Judge Johnson chooses not to resign and is allegedly arrested, what will happen with the position at that time, and will he be eligible for his pension?
Those aren't issues that are within my scope, and so I'm not going to speak to those. I'm sure HR can talk about those things if they choose to, but my position is an elected official engaged in official misconduct, and I felt like it was my office's and my duty to pursue that through these avenues. Anything else?
Anything you'd like to add, or anything we may have left out?
No. I'll provide copies.
What is our timeline? What are we looking at as a timeline for this thing to be moving? Is this going to be, are we going to hear updates within the next week? Are we going to hear updates in the next month? I mean, what is ideally the timeline you're looking for?
I have seen these dismissed in days without any consideration, and I've seen them pursued within a matter of days or weeks. I have no idea, and it's outside of the control of anybody in Midland County. I'll provide some of these petition copies. If anybody wants a copy, I'll tell you the cause number. It's DCV 2601527, and I'll keep one copy so I can make other copies.